Hey y'all, how's it going? GetMeowth here. I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving break. Today we're going to be doing the second part of our card review for the Descent of Dragons expansion for Hearthstone. We're going to be doing the next 37 cards that have been revealed. Because we're doing 37, which is a little bit more than the first one, I think I'm going to basically gloss over a bunch of cards that I don't think are good. So I'll say like 2 words on them and move on, and then so I can spend a little bit more time talking about the fun cards while making this video even longer than the first one. Sound good? Sound good. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So, first up, let's talk about Bander Smoosh. It's like 5 mana, 5/5 Shaman Legendary. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a 5/5 copy of a random legendary minion. So it's got really cool flavor. It's like Muck Morpher. But, it's not good. So, not going to see play in Wild, but it is cute. Alright, so next up we have Dragon Caster. Poor Inkmaster Solia got power crept by a freaking, rare card that you can run 2 of. So the 6 mana 4/4 Battlecry if you're holding a dragon. Your next spell this turn costs 0. So this is straight up in that Dragon, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, Reno Mage deck that we talked about and touched on a little bit in that first video. This card's pretty damn good. 6 mana, get your Pocket Galaxy out, coin it out on 5. Just like the good old days. Outside of the Reno Mage applications, this big dragon, big spell mage is, kind of coming together. Don't think it's going to be better than Pocket Galaxy Arena Mage, but I don't know. Arcane Tyrant was pretty broken, right? In Standard, it was pretty alright in Wild, and I think underexplored in Wild. Same with the Anubis Defender. Free 4/4s or free bodies with your AoE is pretty damn good, right? That's part of what makes Reno the Relicologist so damn good, right? Is it's a body alongside the AoE. So I think this card's really, really good, and I think this card will see play. So next up we have Arcane Breath. This is a 1 mana mage spell. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, discover a spell. This is cute. I don't think it's good enough to see play in Wild, not even in Reno Mage or whatever mage decks you're running. Because I don't think Cyclo Mage is going to be holding a dragon, so therefore I don't think this is going to see play. Alright, next up we have Cumulo Maximus. Cool wordplay on cloud names. This is, the next in that line of pretty strong 5 mana 5/5s. This is a 5 mana 5/5 elemental with the battle cry. If you have overloaded mana crystals, deal 5 damage. So this is not Cloud Prince, 5 mana 4/4 deal 6. This is 5 mana 5/5 deal 5. Overloaded mana crystals outside of Aggro Shaman, which I actually also think was pretty underexplored. Aggro Shaman was pretty decent into Snip Snap, but not really explored much because Secret Mage kind of does what it does, but better. But this, I think, goes in the top end of an Aggro Shaman. It might even just go into something like Reno Shaman because you have stuff that overloads you already, like Volcano and Sludge Slurper, and maybe some arcane knowledges, or whatever, the Ancestral Knowledge, that's the draw spell. So you have good cards that kind of already overload you, so it could see play in that style of deck, but I think this is going to be more geared towards the Aggro Shaman style builds. Does it make Aggro Shaman good? I don't know. Cloud Prince is, Secret Mage just kind of does what Aggro Shaman and Pirate Warrior kind of wants to do, but better. So would there be any reason to play these over Secret Mage? This is not the reason to, in my opinion. But this is good in something like Aggro Shaman. Alright, next up we have Breath of the Infinite. This is a priest spell. 3 mana, consecrate, basically. Deal 2 damage to all minions. I guess it's more like Hellfire, Baby Hellfire. But if you're holding a dragon, only damage enemies. So now it's a 3 mana consecrate if you're holding a dragon. The trend of broken breath cards continues. This card's really damn good. Any slower priest deck that's running dragons probably wants to run this. I think this will be a 2 of in a lot of priest decks in the new expansion. This card is good. Next up we have Diving Griffin. This is a 3 mana 4/1 beast with rush. Battlecry, draw a rush minion from your deck. Hunter doesn't really have rush minions outside of this that I can remember at the time of recording this video. So I don't think Diving Griffin is good, right? You can tutor itself, and then you can tutor Ziliax. I don't think this is good. It's not even as good as Shadow Bolt because you can't bypass Taunt. Explosive Runes. I don't know. I'm not foreseeing a situation that this card's good. Not even in like Reno Hunter, because I think Reno Hunter has a lot better tools in this expansion and currently already that it might want to run instead of this. All right, next up we have Shenvala. So this is Dragon Soul again being power crept. This is the expansion of Power Creep. So this is a 3-mana mage legendary 2/5 elemental. After you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 elemental. I mean, this just slots beautifully and perfectly into Cyclone Quest Mage. You know, the casting 3 spells is so easy for that deck. Plus, this gets discounted by Elemental Evocation, so later in the game when you're not able to combo in a powerful mana cyclone turn, you can combo it with this, and it's busted, and I think this card's good, and I think it slots perfectly into Cyclone Mage. Without a doubt. I don't think we need to dwell on it more. I think this card's good. Alright, so next up we have Flick Skyshift, 6 mana 4/4 Rogue Legendary. Battlecry, destroy a minion and all copies of it wherever they are. So a lot of people have been saying, oh, dude, this thing counters Snip Snap Warlock because you can counter the Snip Snaps. Well, what if they stack stuff on, like, Mech Warper or a target dummy? Like, yeah? Are you going to play a Mech Snip Snap beforehand and then hope the Sky Shiv can hit the Snip Snap and kill the opponent's Snip Snap? But then they have the Glinda's Mech Warper Resiliax. This card is not a counter to Snip Snap. I don't know what the hell this card is. I don't believe if you destroy a Jade Golem that it destroys Jade Idols. So I don't like this card and I don't think it's good. And plus something that's not Odd Rogue in Wild Omega Lol. Just kidding, like maybe that's a thing, but this card's not good. I don't see it seeing play. Don't get hype over this. So next up we have the Paladin side quest Sanctuary. Take no damage for a turn and a reward. Summon a 3/6 minion with Taunt. So this is 2 mana instead of 1, unlike the other side quests that we've seen. So this is something that I didn't actually, expect, but summoning a 3/6 minion with Taunt's pretty damn powerful. The question is, like, taking no damage for a turn is actually not that difficult in Paladin, especially if you're running stuff like Noetrons or Righteous Protectors, and then obviously stuff like Timeout. But there's a lot of decks that actually don't hit you in the face. Like, Snip Snap just wants to cycle? Really? And so if you just put out, like, a Righteous Protector, like, you're not getting hit in the face, right? Seeker Mage will hit you in the face. So this is not good against Seeker Mage. But stuff like Snip Snap and the first couple turns against Mech Paladin, especially in combination with Righteous Protector, which I think is still one of the most busted 1-drops. I can actually see this seeing play in niche situations, but I don't know what Paladin deck this goes in, because I don't know if this makes the top 30 for a Dragon Paladin deck. So this one I am met on, not complete garbage, but not nearly good enough to force its way into any deck. Okay, next up is another card that I think is one of the more overhyped cards in my opinion. So we have the Dragon Hunter Legendary. 6 mana, 7/6 Dragon, Battlecry, change the health of all enemy minions to 1. Varanus, whatever you want to pronounce it. Like, I don't think this card's very good. Like, I don't think, like, Hunter right now, outside of Mech Hunter, has a very consistent way of fighting for board. You're pretty much constantly, playing reactively in the early game, which means that this is very rarely coming down on 6 with you in a strong commanding board position to take advantage of. And therefore, then you're trying to combo it later in the game with stuff like Unleash the Hounds or Explosive Trap, which is very, very ambitious in my opinion. So, like, maybe I get proven wrong by a Dragon Hunter that's able to stick on board, but nothing that we've seen so far is really going to let you stick on board with the dragons. Like, the 3 mana 2/3 doesn't really help you do that. So I've seen a lot of hype around this card, but I'm actually not sold on this at all. I actually think it's probably one of the worst legendaries that we've seen. Yes, it's better than Flick, so at least it's got that going for it. But yeah. So next up we have Amber Watcher. This is a 5 mana 4/6 dragon for Paladin. Battlecry, restore 8 health. So this is Healbot not getting power crept. So instead of a 5 mana 3/3, we have a 5 mana 4/6 dragon. And this restoring 8 health can go literally anywhere. It doesn't have to heal your face, it can heal minions. So I mean, this card's pretty damn strong. My only issue with this card is that Dragon Paladin is like a mid-range board-based deck, right? Health restoration doesn't really have a place in that deck outside of, like, as a follow-up to healing your Twilight Guardian taunt, right? Um, I mean, maybe the 5-mana 4/6 with a flexible battle cry is good. Maybe it's good enough to force its way into that Dragon Paladin deck. I think it's just something that you need to keep an eye on because it doesn't really synergize with the archetype, but it's still a pretty damn strong card on its own. Okay, next up we have Necreum Apothecary. So this is a 4-mana rogue minion, 2/5. Combo, draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck and gain its Death Rattle. So this card is beautifully perfect in every single way for Big Rogue. Everybody's favorite rogue deck. At least according to my Twitch chat. So I think this card's really, really good in Big Rogue. It's like running Barnes, but 2 copies of it, and you can play it out on 4 again, right? So people have said that the combo aspect of this card makes it a lot less consistent than people think it's going to be. But I'm pretty sure the Big Rogue list that I have seen running around and seen people playing run like double backstab, still run preps, run counterfeit coins. So I think you'll be able to pretty consistently activate this. So yeah, I mean, I think Necreum Apothecary is pretty nuts in Big Rogue. Death Rattle Rogue isn't really a deck, but this card's pretty damn powerful. So I can see you running like double Necreum Apothecary and like Sylvanas, and I mean cubes are pretty dead Death Rattle, I guess, off of this, which is not very good. So I mean maybe it's strong enough in that deck, but for sure I think this card is a 2-of in your Big Rogue deck. Alright, next up we have Dragon's Horde. This is a 1-mana rogue spell. Discover a legendary minion from another class. I mean, XD. It's pretty good. You know, the rogue is always going to get these 1-mana discover blank from another class. I mean, I don't think it's terrible, but like, I don't think this is ever sitting play in your like burglar rogue decks. So, hard pass. Next up, we have Clear the Way, 1-mana Hunter side quest. So they get 2. Summon 3 rush minions. Okay, so you run 2 of the Griffin that we talked about earlier, and then Ziliax. I mean, I don't know what other good rush minions. I guess you have the Spring Paws. Wait, you can complete this actually really quickly. Summoning a 4/4 Griffin with rush. I forgot about the Spring Paws with rush, actually. But, that being said, I don't think minion combat is the biggest thing right now in Wild. So, I actually don't see this seeing play. But the Spring Paw actually makes this a lot better than I initially thought it was. So, give this one potential. There's potential for this card, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. Alright, next up we have Secure the Deck. Side quest for Druid. 1 mana. Attack twice with your hero. Reward, add 3 claw spells to your hand. I mean, so I think this is nice fodder for a Gadgetzan Druid deck that runs the myriad of Druid combo win conditions that are out there. Because you're usually passing in the early game, so you play the Secure the Deck, you hero power a couple times, and then you now have 3 claws for whenever you do get your Gadgetzan, you can pop off. I can see it sliding in there. Nowhere else. Okay, next up we have the Dragon Legendary 3-mana 3/3 Dragon Rider Talritha. Death Rattle. Give a dragon in your hand +3/+3 and this Death Rattle. So it basically is like Valinir for dragons. I really like this card. So I've harped on this a little bit. Dragon Paladin is a mid-range deck. And this card, you know, is perfect for that archetype. This card's going to slot into Dragon Paladin. This is the card. If Dragon Paladin sees success, I think this is probably one of the big reasons. But, you know, like I just mentioned with a Hunter, like mid-range decks, XD, Devolve and Shaman. Like, this maybe is able to give stuff like even Shaman and Odd Rogue a little bit of a run for its money. If you get lucky with the buffs. There's going to be a need to be a little bit of experimentation to see what the dragon concentration that you want in the deck is going to be. But I think this card's really, really strong, and I think it's pretty good. So I think this will 100% see play in Dragon Paladin. Here's to seeing if Dragon Paladin finally gets enough, you know, support to actually see. Alright, and next up we have Envoy of Lazul. This is a 2-mana priest card, 2-mana 2/2. Battlecry, look at 3 cards, guess which one is in your opponent's hand, and get a copy of it. So it's very similar to Curious Glimmerroot, except for the opponent's hand. Um, I mean, just like Curious Glimmerroot, it's nothing special. It'll see play in that greedy resource generation Reno Priest deck, but not much outside of that. Alright, next up we have Nithog. This is the 6 mana, 5/5 Shaman Legendary Dragon. Battlecry summon 2/0/3 eggs. Next turn they hatch into 4/4 Drakes with Rush. So I think this card's really, really good at Standard. In Wild, I am not 100% certain. I haven't seen enough to make like Dragons and Shaman 100% worth it, even though Lightning Breath is pretty good. Nithog is pretty damn good with the Shaman Quest, Corrupt the Waters. 8 mana, 5/5 with 16/16 worth of stats on the next turn. It's not bad, but I don't think it's powerful enough to push the archetype on its own, and I don't think it's powerful enough to just slot into Quest Shaman on its own. So yeah, I'm not too high on this. All right, next up we have 6 mana, 2/2 Abyssal Summoner. This is a Warlock common card. Battlecry summon a demon with taunt and stats equal to your hand size. So this is one of those cards that I'm actually really excited about. I think this is a great even lock card. And this, with the Arnasi Broodmothers and the Rift Cleavers, might actually give you reason to play Gul'dan in Evenlock. But yeah, this just kind of gives you that mid-game push, right? So you have the Twilight Drakes and the Mountain Giants coming down on turn 3, 4, 5. And then you usually have this little bit of a lull while you try to set up your Moltons, unless you're playing against an aggro deck. So this is just normally going to be like a 6 mana, 7/7, 6 mana, 8/8 taunt, plus the 2/2 body. I think this card is really, really good in Evenlock. The problem is Evenlock has not seen play in the meta because Secret Mage is the thing. We'll see how the meta shifts. But I think this card is pretty powerful in Evenlock. And, the demon gets rezzed, right? So rezzing a 7/7 taunt demon off of Gul'dan is pretty powerful. So I really like this card, and I think it's good. And I think it'll see play in Evenlock. The question is whether Evenlock will see play, but we'll see. Alright, next up we have the Warlock Legendary card. 7 mana, 4/4 Valdris Felgorge. So this is the Warlock Legendary. Battlecry, increase your maximum hand size to 12, draw 4 cards. A lot of people are super hype on this card. It's a really cool effect. I think I'm really interested to see the animations and how this works with the client, and hopefully it doesn't break the client. But that aside, I don't actually think this card's all that good. So yeah, you can compare it to Lord Godfrey, okay? So Godfrey was essentially a Twisting Nether on a stick. This is a Sprint on a stick, okay? Twisting Nether's a little bit better than Sprint for a class that doesn't have any trouble drawing cards. So, I am not too hype on this. I can't see situations where the hand size matters outside of Evenlock, but this is 7 mana, so yeah. Like, I don't really love this in Renalock. Don't get me wrong, I'll play it in Renalock and see how it goes, but I'm not in love with this card. But it's a really cool effect. Alright, next up we finally have Pirate Warrior support after 3 years. It only took 3 years. And PTSD for way too many people for it to finally get support again. This is a 3 mana 2/3 weapon for Warrior. Inkar. You gotta get the puns in. After you hear attacks, draw a pirate from your deck. So I did say support, but I actually don't love this card, right? Like, you're already running double Deathbite, and the double N'Zoth's first mate, and maybe a Curse Blade, so maybe this takes the place of a Curse Blade. But the reason I'm not in love with it, because you run a lot of one-drop pirates, right? One-drop pirates. So attacking with this weapon and then drawing like a N'Zoth's first mate just feels like, ugh. But like, maybe you top deck a Bloodcell Raider or a Dread Corsair and makes this worth it. But I think if you want this to see play, you need to be running stuff like Naga Corsairs or Captain Greenskin, cards that you don't really want to be running in Pirate Warrior. And I don't think a slower Pirate Warrior is what Pirate Warrior wants to be right now, because you're competing with aggro decks like Mech Paladin and Secret Mage, where you don't want to be slower. You want the deck to actually get a little bit faster. Um, but yeah, I think if you want to run this in Pirate Warrior, I think you need to slow your Pirate Warrior builds down. Run stuff like, make sure you're running Double Dread Corsairs, make sure you're running Naga Corsairs, make sure you're running Greenskin. And then maybe this will be better in a deck like that. But in the current Pirate Warrior builds, I don't think it's great. But, well, actually having to experiment with Pirate Warrior is pretty cool, because I think that's the first time we could say that for 3 years, maybe more. All right, next up we have the Warrior Galakron, finally revealed. 7 mana, of course. So Battle Cry, draw 1 minion, give it +4/+4. Okay, so it obviously goes to draw 2 minions and draw 4 minions, giving them all +4/+4. So this is nice for a tempo warrior, kind of aggressive warrior build, which don't really exist in Wild. So you could maybe try this in Patron Warrior instead of Garrosh, if you really, really want to. But other than that, Temple Warrior and Dragon Warrior just aren't things, and I'm not spending 7 mana drawing cards in Wild Warrior decks. It's just not going to happen. So unfortunately, Warrior Galakron, probably a no-go when it comes to Wild. Next up, we have Molten Breath. This is a 4 mana Warrior Breath card. Deal 5 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, gain 5. Man, why do they do this? All the Breath cards have been so damn powerful. Literally all of them have been so powerful, and then we get to Warrior, the one class that probably needs the most help in Wild, and I get a shitty card. Yeah, this is not good. Alright, next up, we've got Bad Luck Albatross. This card's really funny. Get the little might from Finding Nemo whenever I look at this card. So the 3 mana 4/3 Beast, Death Rattle, shuffle 2 1/1 Albatrosses into your opponent's deck. So I think this card, I mean, maybe calling it a sleeper card is maybe not giving it enough service, because I think a lot of people are actually kind of excited about this card. I love this card in Odd Rogue. I think this card's great in Odd Rogue. Odd Rogue is, it wants good 3-drops. Odd Rogue really wants good 3-drops. And this is a 3 mana 4/3, so it's aggressively statted. The Death Rattle kind of screws your slower control opponents over, right? Because most of your slower control opponents are Reno decks, right? Shuffling 2 1/1s turns off the Reno when there's Zephrys and their Kazakis and literally every other synergy card, right? Plus 1/1s for Snip Snaps and Mechathune Warlock kind of dilutes their draw and slows them down a little bit, potentially. So yeah, I love this card a ton. I think this card's up there for one of the better cards that's been revealed so far, and maybe one of the more playable cards that we've seen so far. Next up, we have Camouflaged Dirigible, 6 mana 6/6 mech. Battlecry, give your other mech stealth until your next turn. Do not get debated by this card, please. This card does not go in Snip Block. If you're spending 6 mana on a card in Snip Block that's not Glinda, you're doing something wrong. This card's garbage. Okay? Okay. Next up, we have Chromatic Egg, 5 mana 0/3. Battlecry, secretly discover a dragon to hatch into. Death Rattle Hatch. I mean, it's a really cool card. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool card. Way too freaking slow and Wild. Won't see play. Alright, next up we have 2 pretty cool dragon cards. So we have a 2 mana 2/3 Dragon Breeder. Battlecry, choose a friendly dragon, add a copy of it to your hand. So this is, I think, compare this along the lines of Netherspite Historian. Okay? So Netherspite Historian was a 2 mana 1/3 that you could play onto and discover cards like Operative or Dustbreaker, right? So this is a 2 mana 2/3. So the improved attack means you don't absolutely hate playing it onto against aggro decks, right? It can actually sort of fight for board. And then instead of randomly discovering a dragon, if you played this later in the game, you get a copy of a dragon that you purposely put on your deck into your hand, right? So on average, the quality of dragon you discover is a lot higher. The problem being, you don't get that value until later in the game. but the 2 mana 2/3 means you don't absolutely hate playing it early. So it doesn't bail you out of a lot of situations, right? It's not going to find you a Duskbreaker when you really, really, really need a Duskbreaker. So I don't think it's as good as another swipe, but I think it's actually not terrible, right? Because the average quality dragon you're going to get is higher, right? Because they're dragons you're putting in your deck. But yeah, I think this card, when you're building a dragon deck, just take a look at this, right? The dragon arena mages that are already playing a bunch of Battlecry synergy cards and a bunch of dragon cards, like maybe you want Dragon Breeder in that deck too, But yeah, I think this card, take a look at it when you're building your dragon decks. All right, next up we have Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, 9 mana 8/8 dragon, of course. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, add 2 random dragons to your hand. They cost 0. Do you need any more reason to play Reno Dragon Mage? I mean, I didn't think that they were going to print Reno support outside of, specific expansions, but this card's pretty good. Like, this replaces stuff like Lich King or Hexlord Malakras or, the dumb value cards. Because this is a value card, right? You're getting 2 random dragons. But it's also allows you some pretty powerful tempo because they cost 0, so you can play them immediately. So yeah, occasionally you're going to get like Temporis, 2 Temporis, and you're going to be like, well, shit. Or you're going to get 2 Deathwings, and you're like, oh, well, shit, I can't play these, right? But I think on average, this card's really, really good, and it's your payoff for running dragons in your Reno decks. So I think this card is strong, will see play in that Reno Dragon Mage, and maybe like a Reno Dragon Warlock, and maybe Reno Dragon Priest. Yeah, I could totally see this being a thing. Sorry, I keep harping on the Mage, but the Mage one's the most obvious so far because we haven't seen the Priest and Warlock. Next up, we have Dread Raven. This is a 3 mana 3/4 beast. Has +3 attack for each other Dread Raven you control. So this card's bad, but I want to talk about this for 2 seconds, even though I said I didn't want to talk about bad cards, because this has some pretty sick OTK potential. So Hunter in the previous expansion got some duplicating Beast in your hand synergy cards, right? So you have Scarlet Web Weaver, and then the Wild Tamer and stuff like that. And so what you can do is you discount Dread Ravens and you discount Tundra Rhino, and then you duplicate a bunch of Dread Ravens. So then, or like Hunting Party, right? And so then you go Tundra Rhino and you play a bunch of Dread Ravens and then you OTK your opponent. So I think it's actually pretty sick. It's up there with like Gazrilla OTK Hunter and stuff like that with silly meme Hunter OTK decks. But outside of that deck at the ranked floor, this card sucks and will not see play, I don't believe. Alright, next up we have Hot Air Balloon. This is a 1 mana 1/2 mech. At the start of your turn, gain +1 health. So actually, it's the small cards like this that are actually really exciting because, they're some of the best cards, right? Hot Air Balloon, I think it warrants taking a look at in something like it warrants taking a look at something in something like Mech Paladin, or any other pretty aggressive mech deck. So the only downside, this is a 1 mana 1/3 neutral mech. The only problem is it has 2 health on the turn that matters, right? The first turn that your opponent has to deal with it. So it doesn't really deal well with stuff like Mistress of Mixtures or Koba Librarian. So it's not the greatest. It's not like 5 out of 5. Like, this card's good. But it, on the flip side, it grows, right? So if they can't answer it, then it's pretty snowbally. That being said, I don't think it's going to go and see play in Mech Paladin. But you have to take a look at these, small mechs and neutral cards like this. So I think it's a lot better than a lot of people kind of gave it. A lot of people just glossed over it. You might want to experiment with a little bit in Mech Paladin. Okay, next up we have the Enter the Kingsbane Rogue, way back in the day. Cobalt Sticky Finger, 5 mana 4/4 pirate. Battlecry, steal your opponent's weapon. In the current metagame, this card sucks. It's that silence your opponent's weapon, but way over the top, like normal Blizzard does. So yeah, I mean, I think it's cute, it's funny, it's not good. Next up we have Kronk's Dragon Hoof, 6 mana 6/6. Legendary card. Battlecry, draw Galakron from your deck. So it's a tutor for Galakron, which is already really, really powerful. But if you're already Galakron, unleash a devastation. So yeah, the Devastations are really powerful. Okay. So first of all, like 6 mana 6/6 legendary draw Galakron is like already good. But then if you're already Galakron, the card's like win the game, busted, really good card. It's like maybe this card is the reason you run Galakrons instead of the Galakrons themselves, I feel like. Yeah, the Devastations are good. I think that this card probably helps actually push Galakron decks in Wild. So yeah, Kronk's 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. One of the better cards in the set, by far and away. Okay, next up we have Shuma. Get your tentacles ready, chat. 7 mana, 1/7. At the end of your turn, fill your board with 1/1 tentacles. So you're constantly filling your board with 1/1 tentacles. The reason is, like, why do you want to fill your board with 1/1 tentacles? I mean, this card's something. this card is something. But I don't think it's good. So, meh, hard pass. Next up we have Transmorgifier. It's a 2 mana 2/3 neutral epic card. After you draw a card, transform it into a random legendary minion. This card's really, really fun. I think it's really, really cool. I don't think it'll see play in a competitive deck. And last but not least for this card review, we have Zuldrak Ritualist. This is a 4 mana 3/9 neutral taunt. Battlecry, summon 3 random 1-cost minions for your opponent. So this is, Hecklebot Curse all over again. Oaken Summons, obviously it's a 4 mana taunt. Summon 3 random 1-cost minions for the opponent so that, you can beat Big Priest that's currently non-existent on ladder. I think the one thing that you always have to look at, the high roll off of Oaken Summons is nice, but of course you actually have to maybe sometimes play this from hand, unless you're a dirty high roller and you're always hitting Oaken Summons in your opening hand. I think the Battle Cry is, a lot better than like Hecklebot against aggro, but Hecklebot's better to comp. It's in that same situation as Hecklebot. You can hope to high roll the 3 mana 3/9, but I know that whenever I play this card from hand, I'm summoning Pit Snakes and I'm crying a little bit. So, yeah. I am still on board the Ironwood Golem train. I still love my OG Golems. But yeah, I think this card will see play in somebody's Oaken Summons Druid deck, but will not see play in any deck outside of that. Alright guys, we made it. Got through 37 cards. Whew. I hope I went fast enough. But yeah, a lot of cool cards. I think the set's definitely one of the highest power level sets so far, and we've only seen half the set. So I'm really, really excited. I hope you guys are too. Next video coming out in a couple days. We have, I think, 4 more days for like 70 cards. So this will be a doozy. But I'm excited for the expansion coming soon. I'll be doing a lot of streaming when the new expansion comes out over on my Twitch page. Twitch.tv/GetMeowth. So make sure you guys tune in there if you want to see some live content and brewing as we go at it. And you can also make sure you guys follow me on Twitter for all the deck list and trials and tribulations that go through the new set. I will be posting all my experiments on Twitter. So make sure you guys follow me there as well. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe as well. Appreciate you all a ton, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.